Welcome back. Still Breakfast Central on News Central today, Wednesday, the 23rd day of October 2019. And we're looking at the impact, but just to let you know, you can join the discussion right here using the hashtag NC Breakfast Central. You can also reach us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and not forgetting YouTube, where you can go there, click, watch, and like so many features. And not forgetting the website, www.newscentral.africa. Off we go straight to the impact for today. We will look at job creation and African youth. Now, more than many Africans are today pursuing higher education than their past generations, I have to say, according to research. But experts say the new challenge for the African continent is that fewer employment opportunities await those who graduate from higher institutions of learning. Now, the Mo Ibrahim Foundation in a recent report stated that African nations are failing to create enough jobs for their booming youth populations, even as some countries have seen strong economic growth. Now, it stated that the strong economic growth doesn't necessarily lead to more opportunities, as over the years, research also shows that Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, Angola, Sudan, and Algeria have some of the highest GDP in Africa, but are among the lowest for job creation. Now, while Africa's overall GDP has risen nearly 40% over the past decade, the continent's economic opportunities have continued to shrink due to improper wealth distribution strategies. Now, poor sustainable economic programs that lead to job creation, access to credit, industrialization, and expanding opportunities for wealth creation among youths. Now, the United Nations says sub-Saharan Africa is projected to be the source of more than half of the world's population growth between now and the year 2050, straining countries' ability to provide good education, jobs, healthcare, and all that. Well, joining me to discuss this is Molade Adeniyi, who is the CEO of WAVE Academy. Now, WAVE is an employability training center based in Lagos, and we have Molade with me. Molade, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Welcome to Breakfast Central.
How are you?
Great. You too?
I am good.
All right,
thank
fabulous. Let's talk about job creation and
Sure.
the African youth. How did we find ourselves in this scenario that we find ourselves today on the continent, where there is no jobs, yet millions of graduates are turning out every year, especially in countries like Nigeria?
Yes, I mean, the statistics actually show that in Nigeria, 1 million young people will enter into the employment market every single year. And
1
only,
million.
and only 10% of those will actually find jobs. So on the one hand, there is the issue around job creation, and some people ask the questions, are there really enough jobs for this young people who are entering the job market? But on the other hand as well, you probably have employers who are complaining that they have jobs, but they don't have the right caliber of young people to actually fill these jobs.
The right caliber?
So the skills and the competencies that they're looking for, the young people don't seem to possess those skills.
Many might call this a time off because you have uneducated young Africans and educated Africans, a huge population. Okay, and we can go with the argument, okay, that there are no jobs, but there's also the argument that there are jobs, but there are not enough young or qualified people to take those jobs. Then that's a limbo.
It is. And the reality is, how do we begin to bridge the gap? How do we begin to, at least if we can even solve some of the problem by getting the young people that upskilled with the right skills and the right competences actually get the jobs that are available. And then we can begin to think of what are some other innovative strategies of actually getting more people into jobs. And not just jobs, sustainable long-term jobs, right? When you speak to an employer and you ask them what are they looking for, employers have historically hired using proxies such as credentials and work experience.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's many young people out there that will tell you that an employer is asking for 2 years work experience, 3 years work experience. And the reality is a lot of the young people don't necessarily have those work experiences. The same thing, there is this misconception that if I don't have certain credentials like a university degree, I actually cannot get a job. But we need to start getting employers also thinking differently. How do we hire people for competencies? What are the competencies that are required for particular jobs? And how do we just give more people an opportunity to even enter into the job market?
It's a counter argument to the debate about that. Okay, they are graduates, but they are not employable from the labor or the employer's point of view.
From a job-ready skills employment.
And what does it mean to be employable? Are you talking about these key competency skills for the jobs in question, right?
Yes. So you would have technical skills, which are the technical skills that you need to do certain jobs. But you also have soft skills, competencies that enhance your technical skills. So for instance, your ability to be able to communicate, your ability to be able to have excellent customer service, critical thinking. Those are the sort of skills that employers are looking for today. Somebody who can think independently, an innovative thinker, somebody who can somebody who can work as part of a team, both large teams, small teams, etc. So you would have likes of Apple, IBM, KPMG, who announced a few years ago that they have ditched the whole credentials for entry-level jobs and anybody can apply. That what they're now focusing on.
When you say anybody, do you mean
honestly, they're saying just apply for these jobs on their portal.
What if you don't have the required certification? You know, they do tend to have, you know, university entry, at least a university education as.
So they have ditched those proxies for entry-level roles because the belief is that once you have this right attitude, the right skills, the willingness to learn, we can actually train you to become what we need you to become. But you still need those basic skills and competencies. And unfortunately, I'm not sure that our higher institutions are actually thinking that way. We're equipping our young people who do get the opportunity to go to school on technical skills, but we are missing that very critical and vital part, which is the soft skills.
But there's also the argument about, okay, what's government doing, the policies about job creation from African governments, from Nigeria to South Africa to Kenya to Uganda. They're not doing enough. There's a huge widening pool of the job gap. Even those who are talking about the unemployable youth, it's not the government, it's businesses talking about this. So the government, what are they doing? There's also just lip service to policies regarding actual direct job creation.
So I hear you, and I think everything has to be a co-creation.
Okay.
Yes, we do rely on our government to do many things, but at the same time, how do we begin to work? How do we begin to partner with government to help them
are they really doing enough
needle
to address the problem?
Sorry?
Are they really doing enough to address the problem?
It's very difficult. It's a big problem, and like you have said, it's a ticking time bomb.
Are you with the argument that it's government's sole responsibility, or you just want to stick with co-creation?
Oh no, I don't actually believe it's government's sole responsibility. It has to be the education system, the government, and the businesses and the employers. Employers need to move from being consumers of labor to actually being prosumers of labor. And what do I mean by that?
Okay.
Employers need to start working with higher institutions, letting them know what they need, working in tandem with them, such that when these young people get out of universities, they have the skills that the employers are looking for.
Or do we have to wait for the young people to come out of universities first?
No, that's what I'm saying. Okay. So the employers need to partner with the education institutions. While we're in there, what should we be teaching them? What are those skills that you need? What you're finding right now is the young people are graduating. The employers are having to pay a lot of money to train them, to get them to the level that they need. Why don't we all just cut that cost? Make everybody's lives easier. Let us begin to cooperate with the government. Let us get involved in policy. Let us get involved in curriculum development at the higher institution level as employers. And let us begin to define what that looks like in terms of what skills do I need. Because
the discourse about jobs, it's the never-ending, bicycle. I love to call it a bicycle ride. I won't call it a popular quote, but I remember one of the big chimes that during the Obama, not first campaign, first inauguration, his first tenure was to talk about jobs. And I remember this quite well. Jobs are not created by governments, but by businesses willing to take risk. I think maybe, there might be some sense in that, because that's absolving government of that responsibility and just totally looking at the private sector, businesses willing to take risks.
And the reality is, for businesses to be able to take those risks and for more businesses to open, there also has to be favorable business conditions for these businesses to open up and thrive. That's why I say it's multifaceted. You cannot absorb anybody of the responsibility. The government needs to provide the right economic conditions, the right policies for more businesses to open up, to thrive, to grow. Because what happens is, as an SME, over 60% of businesses in Nigeria are small and medium size, and that continues to grow every single day. But you don't want them to remain small. You want them to continue to grow. As businesses grow and as businesses thrive, they're able to absorb more people. They definitely need manpower and talent to move to the next level. So the reality is, government needs to work more to enable businesses to thrive.
Yeah.
Businesses need to work more with government and the educational institutions to have the right talent coming out, so that it kind of works around for everybody.
You're from Wave Academy, which is an employability training center. So how, from your experience and from your work, how do we prepare young people for the future beyond the regular, let me just say, the stereotype of doctor, lawyer, banker, accountant, and talk about these soft skills and employability skills that and the kind of skills that businesses should take risk for.
Yeah. I mean, so when we think about the future of work and we think about the fourth industrial revolution.
Okay, I like you telling me the future of work.
Yes, when we think about the future of work, when we think about the fourth industrial revolution, when we think about what are the jobs that are going to be available from 2050, 2040, etc., what people will start laying more emphasis on would be your competencies, your skills, your soft skills, your ability to be able to interact, your problem-solving skills, your critical analysis skills. Machines are going to be able to do a lot of the menial jobs, a lot of the things that we're doing today. And if people are not careful, they will become even more unemployable. Even as we sit here today, we need to continue to upskill ourselves. We need to continue to reskill, relearn. The young people too should not sit, us young people, we shouldn't sit and think that, we have arrived. We're not, there's no skill that is lost. No. If we continue without upskilling ourselves or reskilling ourselves, what would happen is one day would come and we ourselves will be out of work. So we need to start looking, start thinking, start doing the research ourselves, start asking the questions. Young people can also influence curriculum development in their schools. How do they begin to have a positive movement around, these are the skills that the employers are looking for. And demand those skills from their higher institutions, demand those skills from the employers. A lot more people are now working remotely. So you will find that there are people who reside in Nigeria, but the jobs they do are online jobs in America, online jobs in South Africa, wherever, in different parts of the world. Those jobs are becoming more and more available. And a lot of times, these people need you to be able to work independently. They need you to be able to work without supervision. They need you to be able to think critically. They need innovative, creative people. And sometimes our education system kind of stifles those.
Yeah, so because the chase to write the exam and pass and come out takes away so much from the process.
Exactly.
Wow. There's so much for the African youth to think about in terms of education and employability, then now upskilling. So much. I really hope that we can have this discussion some other time. Molade, thank you so much for coming on the impact. It's really, really robust. So let's start upskilling.
Yes,
so we don't find ourselves.
And that's what we do with the young people at Wave. We do train them on these soft skills, on these employability skills, and then we begin to also work with the employers on some of the proxies that I mentioned, and we match them with. If you
were to tell the African youth right now, something to take away from this discourse, what would it be?
You know what? Your life is yours. It's in your hands. You need to start making the changes that you need to see. If you've been dealt a bad hand, if you've not had the opportunity for an education, or maybe the education has not been robust enough, there are a myriad of opportunities out there for you to upskill yourself. Lots of free courses, from Coursera to Lynda, Facebook now, LinkedIn now have courses. Go and look for it yourself and begin to empower yourself. Own your own future. Is what I'd say.
Thank you very much, Molade, from Wave Academy.
Yes,
indeed, which is an employability training center. So they are the authorities when it comes to employability and the future of work. Thank you so much. I think I've learned.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us this morning.
More than one thing or two, that's for sure. Right then, still Breakfast Central on News Central. That's the impact. Unfortunately, we didn't have time for more, but surely there's still more generally when it comes to the show. It's a Wednesday. We've also got sports. So stick with us, and we'll also got business as usual up next. Don't go nowhere.